What's going on, everyone? So today on Puddin's Fab Shop, I owe you guys a real big update on the Travel project. I haven't updated since we first started this thing, and now we're about to start this and actually let it get up to temp, try to top off all the fluids, and I think we're even going to try to drive it to the exhaust shop like this. So let's get started. So let me show you guys problem number one, and that is that I didn't have, my temperature was already reading like 180 or something, which shouldn't have been possible, and I had 0 oil pressure. So I pulled the gauges, and the first thing I wanted to check from putting these connectors on here was to make sure I pinned them out correctly, and sure enough, that was the problem. I need to swap this blue and green wire right there. And over here, I got the green then blue. Over there is blue then green. So, easy peasy.
I'm stupid.
You're not stupid. Don't down yourself like that. She open up. We were having trouble getting this thing to cool off. I think just working all the air out of the system, but it's cooling off good now. The fans are just rigged up because we don't have the computer tuned for it yet, but I think we're to the point where we can try easing this thing out of the shop. Damn right. All right. Everything feels pretty good. Definitely gonna have to roll the front fenders. We've already ripped tire. Brakes feel all right. Take her for a hot lap down back. She's a rough field, so we want to be careful with her. Oh. Damn, it rides good, don't it?
Yeah.
There's a dead possum. He wasn't playing possum, he was dead. Dude, this thing rides amazing because I drive the little Corolla back here. I drive my truck. Ooh, there's a rubbing tire. And none of them ride this smooth, I can tell you that. But they ride good. Watch out for the ruts we made when we pulled the truck up to build this thing. Dude, I'm so tempted to take it around the block. You want to take it around the block?
How much gas you got?
Oh shit, that's a good point.
Make it to the gas station.
A long day of a lot of little stuff, building battery cables, make sure the lug nuts are on, fluids, all kinds of stuff, guys. It's about 5:30 now. My buddies are gonna let me use their shop. I gotta get the exhaust done tonight. I did get it legal, put insurance on it, tag's good. It is open header right now, no hood. We're gonna try to drive it to the exhaust shop. I'm not too worried about the Travel not making it. And technically it's not illegal. but it is loud. I I really don't want any cops messing with me. So far, so good. Lots of thumbs up. A couple people asked me already what year it is, and a guy who wanted to know if it was the original motor or if I had a 350. Passed 2 cops. Both of them looked at me, but not in a like threatening way. So we made it here to Kaiser's Rod and Custom. He's let me use the shop to build this stuff. They do a lot of cool cars up here. We'll do a video up here in the future sometime. Come interview the guys. But get on the rack now. It's about 10 o'clock now. We just buttoned up the exhaust on this thing. It took us about 4 hours, and for never doing exhaust before, pretty happy with that. We actually got to use a bender and everything. Pretty cool little experience. I'm gonna show you guys the exhaust real quick. Couple ports on this one for O2 and the wideband we're gonna have to tune with. I come back, up and over, and just for now we're gonna take it right here and see what it sounds like. But like I said, never done it before. Pretty happy with that. And you can't see it at all underneath there. Even if this thing was in the air where you could see it, you really can't. Got a rattle. All that noise are the plugs for our O2 and wideband, so no big deal. Streamline. It's pretty quiet. It's pretty quiet overall, actually. I was kind of nervous about just doing a couple mufflers, but they're pretty good sized mufflers. Of course, we'll really see when we start driving it around. Man, what a day yesterday was. Guys, I got out in the shop about 6:30 yesterday morning. We didn't get done last night till about 10:30. What is that? 16-hour day of working. Totally worth it. Let it sit out overnight. But before I pull it in the shop, I'm gonna back it up a little bit where y'all can see it better in the driveway, and I'm gonna give y'all a good update. So I know in the last update, it was just getting to start this thing and the whole front end wasn't on or anything. But most of the stuff was done in the back. Let me go show you the main thing going on back there. We open up the old barn doors. I did get a little bit more paint buffed. But you can see my lines there. And basically, there is no room underneath this thing to bring these over the axle and then up through the floor back here. So up here, I'm actually coming through the front of the wheel well, and that's where they come through. Of course, I've got that all sealed off. I'll end up building a cover to cover up all this. So currently I don't have the AC thermostat hooked up. That'll wire in right here, but this thing will power on and blow some air, and it moves quite a bit of air. I'm pretty impressed. So as far as the back goes, that's pretty much it. The pinion seal was leaking yesterday. I swapped it out. Other than that, I didn't really do much other than like seal some stuff off with some AC putty, but I'm gonna show y'all that on the front to kind of give you an idea. And right here's what I mean by AC putty. I know it's hard to see. Tacky cork tape. I know you can see the part number. It's just that tape that it's kind of like tar. You can wrap it on expansion valve. I use this stuff a lot. So an example of where I use that tar tape, where the fuel filler crosses through the body and the back, instead of trying to fit a rubber grommet around that thing, both different, size hoses and everything, I just put a bunch of that around it and seals it up. It does a great job. So up front, nothing really changed. The main thing we had to do was paint parts, obviously, and then build stuff like our AC lines and everything. So I'm gonna show you the few things that I had to do to get all this together. So obviously our lines come through right here. You can see some of that sticky tape I have trapped underneath this whole little cover. This little cover I just whipped up real quick because it looked better than those coming up and out of there. Clamp it down right there, and you can see how our heater hoses go. Now that right there shows you something else I wanted to show you. If you're not familiar with LS motors, they have a steam port, is what they're called, that helps, I guess, burp the air out of these things or something. I'm not super knowledgeable on what they do. Either way, you got to hook it up, and a lot of them will hook up to like a return bung on the radiator. Some people splice their hose. Well, I seen a thing that said you can take it to the return side of your heater hose. Well, the return side on this LS motor is 3/4, and the heater hoses for the vintage air system are both 5/8. So I needed to take the return side from 3/4 to 5/8. So I had to use an adapter right there. So I just built it up with some more aluminum, drilled and tapped it for a barb, and that's where I returned my steam port. And with it down there, unless you look right there at that angle that I showed you, really up here, you can't see it. So maybe that'll help someone out, give you an idea. The next thing I had trouble with was this condenser is so big, which you can't even see it, but it's a monster. When I had the grill and everything out, I could not fit it on the front side. I ended up having to move it to the back side, and in doing so, there's a support right there that this bolted to. If you ever watch that video, I used to have 3 bolts going through. Well, I had to cut out part of that so that AC line could fit right there. Now luckily that still worked. Down here I just had to space it out about 3/8 of an inch with some washers on these brackets and move the whole radiator back, but luckily that still fit. And my sheet metal cover, we're not centered up anymore, but I didn't have to rebuild it. So all in all, I'd say we got lucky there. After that, just out of luck, hooking this up for the overflow. It goes through that hole perfectly, and then that hole right there was from the factory, and I just happened to have a rubber grommet that fit that. So none of that was planned, but it works out great. You can see the MAF kind of set up like a hater pipe going through the hood, except it's our intake. Right now, because we're converting this to the LS7 style MAF sensor, that'll come down to the air filter right here. To keep this thing running, I got to run the old style, so this is just rigged up. This will be getting changed next week when I have the tuner come, where we can do a ride along and tune it. Just have that taped up to keep stuff out of the backside. This alligator clip right here, like I said, is going down in, and I can ground the fans with this to turn them on, just for being able to drive it around. Again, when we tune on it, we'll be able to make it where then the computer's controlling them. So over here, nothing really changed too much, just painting parts. The main thing is this little guy right here. I added this. You can get this little unit for like 25 bucks on Amazon, and it holds 5 relays. Actually, it can hold 6. I think that's for like an 80 amp style relay though, really big. These 3 right here are for my electric fans. I wired them like a newer vehicle where it's using 3 of them, and then the other 2 are for my low beams and my brights, and just kind of easy access spot for it. And other than that, you can see how ugly this looks. I'll probably end up changing something here. The ground don't really bother me. It kind of has to go like that, but I'm not in love with this. Maybe if I'd tuck it down or something. And I gotta go get the correct one. I told them fools at O'Reilly's, they're 2 different sizes. They told me, oh, you stretch it to fit, and I was done arguing, and you can see how that goes. I'm gonna go make them get me the correct one later. All lights are hooked up. Brights, low beams, running lights, turn signals, all that stuff's hooked up. I know it's really hard to see, but back in there, my Monster Trans cooler, that's a True Cool, and then a little power steering cooler there, and everything is good to go. I probably can't even get the camera in there, but up in that area, maybe you can see. Yeah, that looks terrible. So in that area, that's where all the heater hoses tee. It's where the AC lines tee. and it's where the dryer for the rear is. It's kind of a bundled mess. It's where the heater control valve is for the front unit too. It all fits up in there and it clears everything, but luckily up in there it's kind of hidden. I'm thinking about finding some kind of like little plastic or mat and building a little splash guard for it right up in there, but luckily it all fit. It's not the prettiest thing, but I had to have it with running the front and rear heat and air. No wiring you can see on that side, no wiring you can really see on this side. It actually just worked well to keep it on the bottom side of the fenders, and everything's, you know, looking pretty clean. Like I said, if I get this addressed and we get this wrapped up, you know, we'll end up with a really clean engine bay. Finally happy with the colors on the dash. I did scratch it up yesterday like an idiot, but part of it I'll touch it up. Stuff like the radio, I cut the back off that thing because it's so big to make room. Cleaned this all up, repainted that little indicator. There's really just that button assembly where that works to be able to fool you. Still trying to locate some nuts for this, and I'll finish it up. But everything else I cleaned up. We got our key, windshield wipers. This is just a dummy to fill a hole. Headlights, cigarette lighter, ashtray. This stuff, I just cleaned it up. Hooked up the light in here and here where it functions. I did forget to plug them in. I need to get underneath there and plug them in. Our vintage air under dash vents, I'm actually really happy with how those came out. It looks pretty good in here. I'm not crazy about this one single one, and some idiot mounted where his keys hang right in front of it, but it'll still work out. And then obviously shifter and all that stuff's hooked up. So our center console, I do have it in paint, and you can kind of see all the ugly crap that has to go into it and why I wanted to hide it. But this really ain't hooked up yet. I just hooked up the controls yesterday to be able to get the heater turned on. So, I'm sorry it took a while to update on this thing. Nothing extremely complicated, just a lot of time-consuming stuff. I always solder every connection I wire. I try to hide all the wiring. All that stuff just really adds up and can make a project take a long time. Then, of course, body working and painting stuff is not my strong suit. I've told you guys that several times. But I'm glad we're to the point we're at. It's really... I mean, we're doing a shakedown right now. I drove it yesterday. I've already started making a list of things that I want to address or figure out. Little things, gas gauge ain't working. I'm hearing some rattle in the back, not sure what it is. But that's where I'm at. I'm going to start making a list of this stuff and checking it off. And we need to clean up the outside. We need to continue to clean up the interior. And I need to get it tuned next week. Get the fans functioning, stuff like that. So we're getting really close, guys. I almost forgot to tell you guys, this thing's fitting perfect. Maybe you can see the little bit of rake to it. Still tucking tire, but looks mean. That's because I lifted the back up 1.5 inches. So underneath that coil spring up there, you can see that shiny spacer. That's just a aluminum piece we machined. It's 1.5 inches to lift this thing up. Now, if everything settles in the future, we want to take it higher, or if it just hits perfect, it's as simple as unhooking the shocks on the bottom, the panhard bar, and jacking this thing up, letting those drop, take those out, put in the different spacer. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you guys for always coming and watching my videos, checking out the channel. I'm sorry it took me so long to update you guys, but at least it's a good update. We're able to drive this thing legally on the road. That's badass. This has been, like I said, we're going on pushing a year build, getting close. We should have it wrapped up right at that time frame. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you're new to the channel, check out some of the videos where we did all the fab work building this thing. If you always come back, thank you guys for coming back. If you're on Instagram, I'm on there at Puddin's Fab Shop. If you want to help me out, all you gotta do is drop a comment down below. Let me know if you like the exhaust, if you don't like the exhaust. Anything you think I should change on it. I probably won't do it because I love it, but you can still give me your opinion. I'm open to it. Drop me a comment down below. Like the video, share, subscribe. All those things help me grow. So I always appreciate it when you do that. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. And I will see you guys next time where we'll be finishing up some of these small details. But don't forget, sitting on your ass won't finish your project. I'll see you guys in the next video. It's just too much sexy in one shop. Can't even handle it.